Hi, this is Gundug. I just wanted to do a quick video that would show some soloing techniques that you can use, and I wanted to show this build that I use for soloing, which makes it pretty easy. I'll go through the skills here real quick. I use Brawler with my two-hander on the front bar. It gives me a damage shield and does a bit of damage. Then I have Noxious Breath as my spammable skill. It also does AoE Major Fracture, which is nice since there isn't a tank doing that for me. So I can penetrate enemy armor a lot easier. Then I use Reverse Slice, which is my execute. It's to kill enemies faster once they get around 25%. It's also good against groups because it scatters some of its damage to other nearby enemies. It's pretty nice for mobs. I keep this Flames of Oblivion on here for my Major Savagery, which improves my weapon critical, which is nice. And I sometimes even use the Flame since it does okay damage. And then Rally is my Major Brutality, Minor Endurance, and it gives me a burst heal sometimes when I need it. And over here I'm using Dawnbreaker, Flawless Dawnbreaker, which improves my weapon damage and does some damage to the enemy. Then on the back bar I have my Arrow Barrage, which I use to proc my back bar enchantment, and it does some damage to groups. And then I have Stone Giant, which is a nice ranged spammable for me. And it also is connected with a passive if I can locate it. That's kind of nice. Let's see. When you cast an Earthen Heart ability, which is what Stone Giant is, you get the Minor Brutality, which improves your weapon damage, and you get some ultimate. So it's a pretty nice skill, actually. And then Poison Injection, I use that just for a damage over time skill. Green Dragon Blood, that gives me a pretty good burst heal and also improves my general healing so I can stay alive easier. And then Volatile Armor gives me the Major Resolve, which is nice. It keeps me from taking as much damage. And it also does a slight spray of damage around me, which is not a whole lot, but it's not bad. And then my final skill is Standard of Might, which is a powerful skill that keeps me from taking as much damage by the enemy and improves my damage actually to enemies who are standing in it. So that's a pretty good ultimate for situations when I'm dealing with a fairly tough boss or whatever. Alright, so I'll run through this since it's a pledge for the day. I might as well get it done, and I can show you techniques that I use when I'm soloing. In the meantime, I'm going to skip past this trash group here since I usually like to just get through these quick. Go through the door that's not really there. Before a fight, I buff up with my skills. And there you go. Cast my barrage over the group. I can use my Stone Giant on them. I can use the Poison Injection on single targets that are important. And then I use my Brawler, which makes a giant shield around me. As you can see, the more that I hit, the larger my shield is. And then once they're near death, I use my Executioner, or not Executioner, but the other morph of it, and finish them off. I'm actually going to skip this boss because there's no point. This is a daily pledge and all I gotta really kill is the final boss, so I'm just going to zoom through this dungeon. Here's another crew that I don't need to deal with. And these guys. Now if you're soloing, it's good to know how much abuse you can take. And if you run through large groups like this, make sure that you can handle them all. So now I'm sitting here to set an ambush on them, and they're all going to come around the corner eventually, maybe. Well, as you can see, they're barely coming along. I think they're all kind of just chilling in the background there. One thing that you always want to do is make sure you're keeping your buffs up. For me, that's keeping up the rally, my armor, and my healing. These guys just don't want to chase me. Alright, so here's the first boss that I cannot skip. I drop my AoE, I damage over time, and I'm going to use my standard on him. My brawler, put my rally back up. One secret of fighting just about anything is always keep moving. When you're soloing, you'll find that a lot of these moves can be dodged just by moving from side to side. And now here they all are. Try to herd them all together. There you go. That's a fairly annoying boss because he has some CC moves that'll lock you in place that you really can't do anything about. They just happen. Now I'll go on to the next. And now here's another group of mobs that I really don't need to mess with. So I just buff up so I don't take too much damage while I'm coming through. You can also use your brawler if you need a shield to keep yourself from taking too much. And I'll just quickly jump down. I'm going to skip this group too because they're not needed. Now, since I've got a pretty good number of them chasing me, I'm going to try to set another ambush here around the corner, and hopefully they'll all group together. One thing that you definitely want to do while you're soloing is manage mobs. Well, you can see they're all just hanging out there, so I'll just leave them alone. And since I don't have chains or anything to actually group mobs up, I usually just try to line of sight them because then they'll follow you all around the corners. This guy I'll just go straight to the boss with. This is another unskippable boss. You have to be able to unlock that grate over there. Now on this mechanic, if you're taking a lot of damage from her scream, you can hide inside of that shield that her snake casts, or if you're able to just out heal it, you can stay right out and beat her up. If you're a ranged magicka type, it might just be better to go into her shield anyway. But for me, I've got to get up and close. Alright, she's finally at execute. One thing that you can do while you're fighting these guys is actually block cast. So if you can't withstand the damage that's incoming, but you still want to be able to do something, you can actually put up your block and cast a skill. And if it requires a target, you can swipe with it. I would just watch out trying to do that with anything that's channeled, like for the Templar. Their jab skill, for instance, doesn't let you block cast it. It takes you out of block. So if you're in a situation where you should be blocking but you're using the sweeps, you will end up taking quite a bit of damage. Alright, so I'm going to just pull these guys along with me. And there's a treasure chest, so I'm going to stop here. Another thing that you always want to be doing when you're soloing is watching the tells for things that are going to hurt you. Okay, I'll just get this treasure chest quick. Alright, here's another skippable boss.
No mercy, no pleasure.
If you ever find that you're taking a lot of damage and you have your rally running, the longer it runs, the more healing you get back when you fire it again. There you see, I almost got killed. I'm just going to pull this whole group and ambush them around this corner here. There. Yeah, grouping up enemies is a great way of saving you time and doing a lot more damage quickly. Alright, I'm at the final boss. Now the one trick that this character has is she has a bit of a damage shield when she's standing on land, but if she's standing in the water, you'll see that her damage shield will go away. She'll put a shock effect on the water, which will damage you, but it's actually not an incredibly hard hit. But you can, whoops, you can stand on the land and avoid the damage for a while. Once she puts in the death zones on land, though, you definitely want to get out of there. She also does that knockback attack, which is annoying, so it's actually smart to kind of keep moving side to side so that you don't tend to get caught in it. And I didn't even notice she was already at execute, so I'll just bash her a bit more. And that's it. Alright, Well, hopefully that'll be a somewhat helpful guide. If these are at all useful to people, maybe I'll do some more about some other dungeons. Thank you.